Strikerless. Just what is it? Simply put, it's the concept of using absolutely no strikers in your team. Instead, your team will look to attack and score from different avenues. The goal is to completely confuse the opposition defence, relying on movement, runs from deep and killer passes. And this is where our Strikerless story begins with Real Valladolid, a club owned by a particular Brazilian legend, the legendary Ronaldo. So our goal over the next few seasons is to take this Valladolid squad, predicted to really struggle in La Liga, create a strikerless tactic as we attempt to build the ultimate strikerless team and tactic from scratch. I think the first season is going to be a struggle because bear in mind we're using an updated database, so the squad is basically the second division squad. So for this season it's purely to get the philosophy of strikerless in and to try and survive. So this is the squad we're working with. There's not that many standouts, to be honest. They are a bunch of second division players. For example, we've got Alvaro Negredo, a great striker in his time, but he's now 38 and his physicals are lacking. And when we're looking for strikerless players, this is what I'm looking for in those front positions. So this is the first tactic we're going to use in the save. And as you can see, it looks pretty aggressive. But my thinking is we need to score as many goals as we can, win as many matches as we can. So we're going with this. So the two wide positions, we need really pacey wingers. We're fortunate with Undi here because he's got acceleration 16, pace 16 and off the ball 14. Those three things are the three things I'm looking for from the wide men. Essentially, going to be the main goal getters. I'm looking for something slightly different. Marcus Andre here, you can see he's a striker, but that's fine because I'm going to retrain him to play as an attacking midfielder. However, what we're looking for from a shadow strikers is again acceleration, pace, off the ball, but we do need to add finishing and composure in there as well. You can see here we've got the template of Strikerless, so the team instructions probably won't change that much. It looks aggressive in out of possession, but it's not as aggressive as first seems. When you go here, you can see much high defensive line, high press. However, because you haven't got a striker as such, the high press starts a bit further back. So that's why we keep it quite tight together and boxed in. The type of goals we'll be looking for is the wingers to feed these guys in here and also these guys to drop off and play killer through balls. So we need to bear that in mind when we start to recruit. For season 1 though, recruitment will be minimal. In fact, of these transfers here, only 2 are mine. The first was Cabral, who's came in on loan because we don't have much money. He's just going to play left inverted wing back. And the next one is Alejandro Gomez, a bit of a legend in the Spanish football scene. He's came in from Sevilla via Atalanta. We need more bodies to play in that attacking midfield zone. And remember that season preview of 450 to 1, so they are expecting us to get relegated. I'm just hoping that the strikerless tactic can confuse a few defenders. It won't be what they're expecting. The philosophy for this team is going to be fast counter-attacking football with killer balls, mostly coming from Monchu, who's going to be our star man, and these attacking midfielders. Monchu is our star man by a mile. I used him in past FMs. He is a little bit of class. His passing's good, his vision's good. He can play either of these positions, even up there if we need him to. He's one who's going to be sticking around. As for the rest of the squad, I would expect it to change as the seasons go and we try to build that perfect squad from scratch in relation to the level of team that we are. It would have been very easy to go with a Real Madrid, a Bayern Munich or a Man City for this story, but we've gone for Valladolid to go from scratch, create a tactic and philosophy that potentially can make them a quality top half La Liga team when we're done. First game of the season, we confused the heck out of Alaves. That's a booming start. In the next game, we played Real Madrid. It was 3-1, but if you look at Real Madrid's team, I think that is totally acceptable at this stage. Remember, we are playing with a second division team here, but this sort of goal here is what we're looking for. Pressure through the middle and attacking midfield to scoring. Some highs and some lows. This was a low, but if you look a little bit closer, you can see when Cabral got sent off after 67, we were actually only 2-1 behind. We then just capitulated. But the good news was we were beating teams around us, and this is a classic strikerless goal. The little intricate passing, Marcus Andre puts it in. Here's another great example of a strikerless goal. Escudero here is one of my inverted wing backs, 1 and 2. I've got them playing like that. They supply the midfield coverage so we can get more attacking midfielders up. Now the movement, you're going to see drop-offs and little runs and killer balls, which is what we want. There's the drop-off from Kike, killer ball, and you can see the late run from the attacking midfielders. These defenders have gone from not knowing who to mark to not marking anyone. As Marcus Andre goes through, feeds him it back, lovely. But again, when we played the big boys, it was kind of brutal. Having said all that, the first half of the season wasn't too bad. After 18 matches, we were sitting 8th, which is way above expectations. It's pretty clear what our problems are. We're scoring a decent amount, over a goal a game, but we're conceding nearly 2 a match. And that might be down to a little tactical tweak I made. I've gone for Volante in there, an advanced playmaker there. He does drop off a bit, but obviously there's big gaps there. This is work in progress. But remember, our goals for season 1 was to purely survive. And if you look at 18th place for Espanyol with 13 points, we've got 28. That's a 15-point buffer. We're doing okay. One of our best results in the second half of the season was this booming win against Valencia. They didn't know who to track. Some lovely goals here from the Strikerless tactic. You can see there again, Valencia all at sea. A big 3-0 win. And the second half of the season was very much like the first half of the season. But it did lead to a 9th place finish in season 1, which is outstanding. And we know what to work on for the next season. As you can see, 38 matches, we scored 56 times but conceded 74. The big question now is who stays and who goes, because this is our first summer transfer window where we can start to build our squad for the perfect strikerless philosophy. Actually really happy with season 1. I'm sure Ronaldo was as well. No way did anyone expect us to finish 9th. Now looking at the team, we are going to change the tactic. That tactic was super aggressive just to make sure we got enough goals, but we did take some hide-ins as well. The team, who's safe? Monchu, absolutely safe. He's a touch of class. His value is starting to go up. Similar story for Bayomo, a centre-back, but I think I'm going to use him more in this role. He's 5'11". I think he's better suited to that role there, but as you can see, value of 24 to 27 million. I don't want to make too many changes because I want to keep this as real as we can. We're going to tweak as we go, but we definitely need more quality in the key positions, which is that front 4 or 5, depending on what tactic we go for. So after having a think, I identified positions I was looking to improve. Both fullback positions, and then probably at least one attacking midfielder stroke shadow striker. And we did good work in the transfer window, getting in 6 players. Got ourselves a new keeper who will probably be the keeper for the entirety of the story. Vutsov from Bulgaria, already capped, looks a good talent. In at left back is Roman Parot. We've actually spent money on him at 1.8 million. Eddie Salcedo, one of those players with untapped potential that can never quite get going. We're going to try and do that. He's perfect for this shadow striker role. A very similar player to Salcedo is Sebastiano Esposito, a former wonder kid who's never quite got there. We're going to try and get him over that hump. On the wing comes Palestri in from Man United, probably our biggest signing if you think of it in terms of stature, where he's came from. Acceleration and pace are great. Off the ball good. He's going to be a creative talent. I've also bought in Castrovilli. I probably shouldn't have because I'm not sure where he's going to fit in. So as season 2 begins, that's the team we're looking at. We've got ourselves a new goalkeeper. The centre-back pairing I quite like. Javi Sanchez is one from day 1 as well. He'll probably stick with us. Then the front 5, if we stick with that, looks a bit more dynamic than last season. Just before the season started, we pulled off a late move for Morton Forsby. He's going to give us a few different options. But again, the season preview has not been kind, with the media not too impressed with our recruitment, rating us at 300 to 1, expecting us to struggle. So playing it safe, I kept the same formation as last season. You can see our through balls there. Palestri's got options 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the perfect rotation, what we're looking for. These centre-backs have no idea who to mark, and the ball goes over. And there's our boy Salcedo. That was our first win of season 2, and it looked pretty impressive. However, we were inconsistent and we were struggling a bit, and I felt like we needed a change of tactic. Following another thumping by Barcelona, we did change it up. And in this game against Tenerife, we looked good. We've dropped an extra player into midfield. I'll show you it shortly, but we've got more options now. Monchu's getting higher up as well. And the killer balls are raining in. If we pause it there, look here. These defenders aren't marking anyone. They think they've got an easy day, but as you can see, players are starting to run off them. As we play this on, there's Andre, nobody marking him, and he just bursts through. The change of tactic has led to our best run of form since we started this story. And here it is. This is the version we're going with now. We've got 4 at the back, 2 volantes, one more aggressive than the other, 2 shadow strikers in Esposito and Salcedo, and then we've got 2 wingers. Now, this front 4 is the perfect sort of philosophy we're looking for, of pace, off the ball movement, and the odd killer ball. Esposito has got that in his locker. He's got flair of 15. His passing's decent. I'm hoping to rejuvenate his career. He hasn't got going yet, but Salcedo has. He's scored 5 times in 10 matches. He's starting to warm into it. His attributes are on the rise. If we can combine this Strikerless story with rebuilding these 2 boys, I'll be very happy. What this 2 Volantes does is it just makes us a bit more solid, but they're still getting forward because Volantes do. So quite often you end up with 5 up front with one of them sitting back. And I've got these 2 inverted wing backs who'll jump in there and provide the cover. So far, so good. Now, we lost to Real Madrid, but it was only 1-0, and we started beating impressive teams like Sevilla, and look at that space for Palestri. So we beat them 3-2, and that was with 10 men for over a half. It meant at the halfway point of Season 2, we were sat in 7th position, just touching Europe. Incredible. The change to this had definitely helped. We also made it all the way to the semi-finals of the Cup. Unfortunately, we drew Real Madrid in that one, and they put us to the sword. This guy is such a problem. However, the league campaign was really good. Although we lost at home to Barcelona, you can hopefully see the improvement because we're not getting smashed anymore. We went into the last match knowing that if we won, we would get into Europe next season, which is an unreal achievement this early. It was the 94th minute when we got this free kick. Super fitting that Bayoma was the man to score it. We win 4-3, and that sends Real Valladolid into 6th position and into next season's Europa League. Such an improvement this season. We scored 77, which is 2 a match, conceded 64, so still improvements to be made, but undoubtedly this formation is one to work with. So Season 2 was a great season. Not only did we qualify for Europe, finishing 6th, so we're building nicely, nice and slowly, but Salcedo and Esposito, I think we're starting to rebuild them. Salcedo ends the season with 20 goals overall and 16 in 35. He is ideal in that shadow striker pocket. And next to him, his mate Sebastiano Esposito, all 6'2" of him, 19 goals, 15 in the league. He's starting to cook as well. I feel like a proud parent with them too. But the work never stops. We've started prep for Season 3. I've left some gaps where I feel like we need to improve. Right back is constantly a problem. A Volante to go next to Monchu and possibly a new winger. We've hardly had any money. I'm hoping Ronaldo gets his hand in his pocket for us now we've qualified for the Europa League. So it was time for Season 3 and Ronaldo had done his best for us. He gave us a little bit of money. We sent 3 million out and we spent 15. So yeah, he did alright by us. So after a 6th place finish, it's time to level up. We brought in John-Philippe Mateta from Crystal Palace on a free transfer for one of those shadow striker roles. Josip Brekalo also on a free transfer. In from centre-back is Luke Wolfenden. He's a really good ball-playing defender. Another free transfer. I spent 2.4 million on Kelvin Yeboah. He can either play out wide or we can retrain him to be in the middle because he's got acceleration, pace, decent off-the-ball movement. On loan for PSV is Cher Undua. Now he's 6'3". He's going to be playing in that Volante role. He could give us a good physical presence next to Monchu. I also like the experience of Axel Witsel in on a free transfer. He's 37, but he can cover centre-back or cover Volante. And we broke our transfer record. Thank you, Ronaldo, for Dylan Bakwa. Now, he's going to play on the left wing. You can see his acceleration is 16, his pace is 15, he's off the ball 15, his flair is 17. He will be perfect out there. He's exactly what we need. All that means our team looks a little bit like this for the new season. I've moved Bayoma over to right wing back. We're going to try him in there, move Wolfenden inside. We've got Monchu and Under, and the front four looks good, doesn't it? Palestri, Bakwa, Esposito, Salcedo, and our bench is looking good. But remember, we have the added pressure this season of the Europa League, so we need these players. So I'm excited for Season 3. I've got pretty much what I'm after up front now. I've got pace, movement, off the ball, potential for killer balls from Esposito, and I like this guy next to Monchu in a loan for PSG. It's whether we can get him on permanently at the end of the season is the big ask. We've got 3 versions to work with. This is going to be the main one because it worked so well when we moved to it last season. There is still the Season 1, and then there's this version, which is another version of the 4-2-4 where we drop Monchu back to deep line playmaker and just go positive and just rein it back a bit. But for most of the season, it will be this one, trying to take advantage of this pace and power we've got in the strikerless positions. The season started fantastically well and it's great to see our philosophy coming through. If we pause it there, you can see the setup. We've got centre-back 1 and centre-back 2. And we've got our 2 full-backs playing as central midfielders. Monchu, the slightly withdrawn Segunde, and then Cher, the more advanced one, meaning we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the front. The defenders again don't know who to mark because we play the ball through. Look at that through ball. Salcedo's in, nobody marking him, and he is reborn. Let me take you to the game against Real Madrid and you're about to see the perfect strikerless goal. It's a counter-attack. Bang, we win it back here. This is Bakwa. Remember him? He was the man we just signed on the left wing with all the pace and acceleration. He drives down the left-hand side. Lays it inside to Esposito. He's the man with the killer ball in that shadow striker position. He finds Cher Nader. Great ball to Palestri. That's a wonderful counter-attack at the Bernabeu. It meant we got our most impressive result yet, drawing 1-1 away at Madrid, and we started the season unbeaten. The Europa League had gone better than we could have even imagined. We were undefeated in it and sat second in qualifying. We lost another tight match to Barcelona, At the halfway point of season 3, we're currently on our best run of the season, winning about 6 in a row. Remarkably, we're sat in 4th position. We've played a game more than Sevilla, but we're up there. I've played the whole season playing this formation. I keep switching Wolfenden and Boyomo around, trying to get the best out of them, but the front 4, set in stone. In the January transfer window, we picked up James McAtee from Man City. He was available on a free transfer. It seemed like a no-brainer. In the knockouts of the Europa League, it was a titanic tussle in 2 legs against Marseille. We went really close. Just getting knocked out 4-5 after an epic tie. However, the league campaign continued to flourish. In what was our best performance since I've taken charge, we went away to Atletico Madrid and absolutely dominated. Monchu with the winner was to keep a clean sheet and beat them at their ground. A super solid second half of the season meant that incredibly, after the 3rd season, we'd qualified for the Champions League, finishing in 3rd by 10 clear points. We only lost 7 matches throughout the season and we tightened up the back, only conceded 45. Fantastic season. We are way ahead of schedule now. We've qualified for the Champions League after 3 seasons. You can see some gaps at the back because this is where I'm going to look to try and improve. Left side and 2 centre backs. The front 4, I can't say enough about them. Bakwa was our record signing at 7 million. He's paid it back and some. He's a perfect player for this formation and style. He's got 12 assists in the league, 15 overall. Esposito continues to come back. His value is now up to 18 to 20 million. He's wanted by teams, so they can go away because we've rebuilt him. But another 20 for him, 11 in the league. And the same for Salcedo, now valued between 28 and 30 million. He bags another 20. And Palestri's also wanted. His values up to 24 to 26 million. 13 assists for him. So those front 4 have been fantastic. Also fantastic was a lad in on loan from PSG. We've put a bid in. It's 20 million. Not all up front, but rising up to 20. If we can get him locked down, it's going to be huge because he scored 14 times from midfield with 11 assists. He's my version of Yaya Toure. 6'3", skillful, arrives late in the box. He's a dream. So now it's time for a very important summer transfer window for season 4. I would have been happy with this to finish in 4th, but we're going to keep going. James McAtee's just joined the club in January. I'm thinking I'm going to use him as a secondary volante, believe it or not, and retrain him a bit.
No tiene que ser un equipo nacional.
So into season 4 we move. We are ahead of schedule. It's time for a busy transfer window to level up once more. I love Ronaldo, but he's quite tight with his wage budget, so we needed to trim the squad a bit. After 1 season, we cashed in on Mateta. He couldn't break through past Esposito and Salcedo, so we sold him to Parma for 3 million. Castrovilli went to Rennes. He just didn't fit for us. And then there was a rake of loans that we shipped out, but all of them paying us a fee. Our first big signing was Claudinho from Zenit St. Petersburg. He's a current Brazil international. I think he can play any of these roles across the front. And most importantly, we did lock that signing down of Share. He comes in for 20 million, but he's going to be worth that. We've got 2 new centre-backs in. The first one was Zeno Dabas from Sporting for 6 million. He's raw, but he'll be good. He'll be partnered by Big Dan Axel Zagadou, 5 million from Stuttgart. So as it stands, that's the way the team looks at the minute. Vutsov continues in goal. We've got the new defence. I'm still looking at a different left wing back to provide a bit more quality here. The same midfield and the same front 4. The bench continues to build in class. Late in the transfer window, I did get myself a new left back in Abner Vinicius, in on loan from Fulham. We started rolling in the league with a 3-1 win at Mallorca, a 4-1 home win against Las Palmas. We completely opened up against Leganes. They just could not deal with us. But the highlight of the season so far, and probably this story so far, was this performance against Bilbao. They were absolutely rampant. Bilbao did not know who to mark. And when you don't know who to mark, there are gaps absolutely everywhere. When it works, it is fantastic. When it doesn't, it's kind of brutal. But despite that Barcelona result, we had started like an absolute train in the league and in the Champions League. The rebuild of Eddie Salcedo and Esposito continued here against AC Milan. A big win in the Champions League. And we also went away to Atletico Madrid and did what we do to them. However, we are becoming victims of our own success. Injuries are starting to pile up, probably because of the amount of games we're playing. At the halfway stage of season 4, we are still sat in the top 4, but we've lost 5 matches. We're doing well in the Champions League though, undefeated, but we have had a lot of injuries, specifically to our front 4. Now Ronaldo is a good owner, but he's also a cautious one. Our transfer budget and wage budget was still pretty modest in January. I was able to bring in Filippo Mane from Dortmund for 2.8 million. And with all the injuries up front, I made a move for Alvaro Morata to play in shadow striker in from Fiorentina, and they're paying most of his wages. And what a start he had. In the cup, he scored 2. So we're still playing well, but it is a bit of a struggle with all these injuries. You can see Cher, he's got an injury, and the overall condition of the boys is a lot less because of the amount of games we've got. So keeping these front lot fit has been a bit of a struggle. Salcedo is on his way back. There you can see he's been out, needs a fitness test, still banging in the goals. But there's not a lot wrong with this. We just need to get through this little sticky period till the end of the season and stay in fourth. We beat Ajax, and a great achievement. We qualified in the top 8 in the Champions League, finishing 5th. But this schedule is really starting to take its toll. So on Dortmund to help us out, I signed Duranville from Dortmund on a loan with an option to buy for 12 million. So at the minute, my time at the club has meant 53 million spent, 23 recoup. So not bad really, considering we've got them in the Champions League. In the Champions League, Porto got lucky and knocked us out. They stole that one. With those extra Champions League matches, it really knocked us off in the league for a bit. Injuries took their toll. Esposito had an injury-ravaged season. He finally got back for the run-in. We also tweaked the tactic, having both inverted wing-backs on defend now just to sit. This last day draw against Villarreal meant for the second successive season we finished 4th and in the Champions League spots. Another good season, but in this off-season we're going to need to get in some better players. I've also started planning for a different formation for tougher matches, maybe dropping these wingers back. I'm going to have a think. Season 4 wrapped, possibly victims of our own success with the Champions League causing us a few problems. But we're still doing well. I think we'll go for one more season, try and maintain ourselves as the top 4 team in Spanish football. And for the second straight season, I won Manager of the Year. That's cool. We know this team is quality. We just need to make some tough decisions now to try and take us to that next level. For next season, Ronaldo's dipped his hand in his pocket a little bit by giving us 12 million, but it's not going to make a major dent. We entered season 5 looking to establish ourselves as a top La Liga team. It was an interesting transfer window to say the least. We got raided by Saudi and they took away Palestri for 24 million, and our pacey left winger Bakwa, he went as well when they triggered his release clause for 25. I let Claudinho go for 19 million and Bayoma to Everton for 15 million because he wouldn't sign a new contract. Rakes of other players left us as well, and we started replacing them with Duranville for 12 million. Fontan for left back at 6, Barbary from Juventus for 1.5, he'll play full back right. I managed to get Dovbike in for free. Emre Can will come in to bulk up the squad. A bit of a banter sign in 38-year-old Thomas Muller. But we pushed the boat out to sign Vitor Roque from Barcelona. 10 million loan fee, but we can sign him at the end for 25. Not forgetting Balimielu. We spent 11 million on him. He can play anywhere across the front. So the team looks good. Esposito might not start in this one, but the squad as a whole, very good. We're maybe 1 or 2 shy. First match of the season, it was good to see debut goals for 2 players, Mayulu and off the bench, Dobrik. So Rocky, I was going to play him out wide, but I think he's just too good. So what I've done is I've gone to development and training. I'm retraining him to be a shadow striker. Obviously playing him there will speed this all up, and we did in the first match, and he did great. He bagged 2 goals. He's going to be a right threat, beating that offside trap. But yes, undoubtedly our strongest side yet. Oh wait, hold up. One last signing before the transfer window ended. I brought in Darami on loan from Wolfsburg. I couldn't resist the acceleration, the pace and the off the ball. We had a great start to the season, but it was time for Real Madrid away. Fear not. Salcedo playing from the right put us in the lead, and then 9 minutes to go. McAtee off the bench. Absolute seeds, come on. We beat Real Madrid away from home. I love this club. We beat Real Madrid away. How about Barcelona away? Boys are cooking. We also slipped in a cheeky 8-goal win in the Champions League. It's been a really good start to the season, and we're sitting 3rd in the league table. Champions League we're doing alright, but I've definitely prioritised the league this time, but we have only lost once in the Champions League, a bit of a batter into Benfica. It was all going so well, then Saudi came in and triggered Dovbik's release clause, so he's gone after half a season. It now means we brought in 56 million, only spending 34, but we might need to replace him. We'd started to cook in the Champions League, and Salcedo is without doubt our top boy. Big win away at Stamford Bridge to add to Real Madrid and Barcelona. Champions League knockouts, we drew Barcelona. We lost the first leg 1-0. Drama in the second leg though. We took the lead in the 20th minute. And then, in injury time, you won't believe who scores the winner. Barca's own Vitor Roque, meaning we knocked Barcelona out. We also ended up doing the double over league leaders Real Madrid. With not too long left in the season, we've actually got a slim outside chance of challenging. And despite all the players that have come and gone, some things stay the same. Salcedo, Esposito, those two up front. After a great effort in the quarterfinals against AC Milan, we just couldn't get the job done, but a good effort nonetheless. And back to the league, if Eddie can stay fit, we've got a chance of a record finish here, because the second half of the season has been fantastic. With 4 games to go, we are sat in 3rd position, trying to get to 2nd. Alas, the season is over and we just fell short in our mission to get 3rd. We finished 4th, so that's 3 successive 4th place finishes. I think that establishes Valladolid, the strikerless Valladolid, as one of the top teams in Spain now. So we just fell away at the end with a couple of defeats at the end to Madrid and Barca, but you can see it's our best season with 71 goals and the best defensive record yet with 39 as I go back through the seasons. You can see last year we conceded 52, year before that 45. So as a whole season, that was the best yet. 3rd straight time qualifying for the Champions League. And this time we got to the quarterfinals of that. We got knocked out of the quarterfinals by Valencia. Get this. So we were winning. It's the 90th minute and watch. The goalkeeper scores a header to equalise and they beat us in extra time. But overall, really proud of how we've got the philosophy of Strikerless into Real Valladolid. And despite all the transfers, Salcedo and Esposito have been there since the 2nd season. And still there is Monchu, started 19 matches. He's on his way to Saudi at the end of the season, but he stayed throughout, as did Xavi Sanchez, the centre-back. But overall, we've built our perfect strikerless team and squad for a team of the level of Real Valladolid. I would like to think Ronaldo would be pretty happy with that result.